this as a bad spot. We're 1-2, yeah, but we have a lot of the season left, and we're little things here and there in each game that we know we're going to get corrected, and we're going to be in a good spot. And like I said, we're excited Thursday night to go show what we can do and get going back in the win column.
You are what your record is, and so everybody has to eat that and wear that. While we think we're better than that, it's an opportunity for us to see, so it's a test.
I'm ready. We're ready. Let's go. You're going to tear us down. Come tear us down. That's backs against the wall. What are we going to do? I guess we're going to go see.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Who said that, Max? Sugar free. First take on a Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for hanging with us. It'll be Carson Wentz versus that bad man. That is tomorrow. I'm disappointed in you. You didn't know that. Whatever. The Eagles certainly haven't put their best foot forward this season, having dealt with a myriad of injuries affecting almost all phases of the game, coming off losses to the Falcons and Lions, now standing at 1-2. Stephen A., the man who spent 18 years in Philadelphia, is Thursday a must-win for those Eagles?
I believe it is. I really, really do. I think that the Eagles have to win this game.
This is great, by the way, this whole look.
Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
I mean, I do look kind of smooth.
Oh, my gosh.
I should say so myself. I usually leave the 3 pieces to Max, but I got it.
Oh, so humble.
I have an event to go to tonight, so
okay, ready. Black tie. I like it.
Well, it wasn't black tie, it was black and gray and all of that other stuff.
No, black tie means like well dressed.
I understand.
Go ahead.
I understand. Anyway, but as I was saying, listen, in all seriousness, here's the situation right here. You have a situation where Carson Wentz doesn't look as bad as he has, as you would think he's looking with a 1-2 start. Guys are dropping passes left and right. Nelson Agholor, obviously Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey have been hurt. You had this kid, Sega Whiteside, that dropped the ball right in his hands. That could have been the winning touchdown, winning score, put it right in his hands, and he dropped it. And so you have a situation where you're 1-2. Here's why I say it's a must-win situation, Max. Because the Dallas Cowboys keep winning. We can't ignore that. And when you look at the NFC in its totality, and you look at the fact, particularly the NFC North, where the combination of Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago look formidable, one could argue that both wild card spots are going to come out of that division. All right. Not to mention you can't ignore Seattle. Obviously, LA will probably win the West. You got New Orleans will probably win the South. One of those three are going to win the North, with the possibility of two of them being eligible for a wild card spot. So you got to go for the division. And if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you lose this game and Dallas going up against a New Orleans team, that will be their most formidable matchup of the season thus far, because New Orleans got a pass rush, so Dak Prescott ain't going to sit in the pocket, be able to take pictures, call his girl, tell her where they ask where they want to go for dinner and all that stuff before he flings a pass. Oh, it's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable this week. But in the end, you're still performing or playing against the Saints team without Drew Brees. So the chances are the Dallas Cowboys could end up 4-0. If you end up 4-0, and the Eagles drop to 1-3, it's really, really improbable that they're going to come back from that. That's why I believe this is a must-win.
I hate when people say, is this a must-win? Well, mathematically, it's not a must-win, so no, it's not. Or you can't give 110%. You already given 100%. Mm-hmm. It's idiomatic precisely because it captures something that's not literal, right? So of course, it's not must-win in a mathematical sense. You're not sitting here going, there's no way for them to win the division. But realistically, you're saying if they lose Thursday night, they ain't winning the division, so they're not going to the playoffs.
Gotcha.
Same way I'm saying that's not true. I'm saying 110%. Wentz has to figure out a way to make this team give him 110%. Nick Foles did it. And I think the question is really for me, and by the way, I don't think this is a must-win.
Okay.
They're going to lose Thursday night because road defenses, in spite of what happened with Carolina, road defenses generally stink on Thursday night. And so they're going to lose because their defense won't come through most likely. But every team is going to have a week like that, so it's going to get spread around, and it'll happen to the Cowboys. It'll happen to other teams too. The issue for me is, do you believe either you have that thing that gets guys to play for you, or you don't, or do you believe that if you don't, you can get it? Mm-hmm. I don't want to sit here and count Wentz out of that category, the kind of quarterback that can rally the troops, that guys want to play for. But I will say this, so far, he has not been that guy. His team doesn't want to play for him. You talk about receivers dropping passes. You can't discount his skills or talent. They're obvious. If it weren't for Mahomes, we'd be talking about, oh, my God, have you ever seen anything like Carson Wentz? Mm-hmm. Mahomes is overshadowing everyone, but Wentz is that good.
Okay.
Why are the receivers dropping passes? why does the offensive line not block for him? Why does the defense not show up when he has the ball under center? But when Foles did, they did. The receivers weren't dropping passes. The defense was making plays. The offensive line was blocking. There's something about Foles that gets people to follow, that gets them all wanting to pull in the same direction, wanting to play with and for him. Wentz doesn't have that. The only question for me with the Eagles as to whether or not they can make the playoffs and make a run this year is, can Wentz get it? Can he figure it out? Because his teammates do say good things about him and that he's making strides in terms of leadership. But is that something that's acquirable? Because if it is, this is not a must-win game. But if it's not, Stephen A., then it doesn't matter the outcome of this
You
game.
lost me there. Here's the deal, Max. I can respect where you're coming from. I understand it. But I completely disagree. Completely. Like, for example, you really going to blame Carson Wentz for catching passes, dropping passes? You going to blame Carson Wentz for Nelson Aguilar fumbling the football? Come on now. I mean, everybody got a job. Everybody receiving a paycheck. It don't say Carson Wentz or Nelson Aguilar's paycheck.
We're going to get to Carson a little bit later.
I'm just saying, overall, I'm like, wait a minute now. I'm not sure I can go that route. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, and by the way, let me say this. Let me veer left. I'm sick and tired of you. I think you overblow Nick Foles. Let me be very, very clear. I can appreciate the fact that the brother won a Super Bowl title. I understand that. Let me say this.
Super Bowl MVP,
Let me express. This is what I mean, what I'm saying. I'm tired of it. Max, they went on a run. They went on a run that was improbable, that nobody anticipated. So you're talking about guys playing with house money
and,
just
team.
Going forward.
Yep.
They were a good team that was underestimated, slept on. They handled their business when least expected them to do so because they were counted out once Wentz went down, 13 games into the season in Los Angeles to that injury. The second year when Nick Foles came and went on a run, okay, they won a wild card game, and they lost in the divisional playoffs to New Orleans, nevertheless. All I'm trying to say,
New Orleans.
So what? All I'm trying to say is this. Let's not act like, excuse me, I saw drop passes.
That's true.
I did see drop passes.
A receiver had to turn his head around. That's true.
So all I'm saying is let's not blame Carson Wentz for that. Not that.
This is what I'm saying. Do you think it's coincidence? If it was just the one Super Bowl run, that's a big deal.
Yes.
Okay, I could understand you saying, look, he caught lightning in a bottle. Last year, the Eagles were kind of dead in the water when Foles took over the team. As soon as he took over the team, they started playing better in every phase of the game.
They were 5-6 with Carson Wentz as a starter, and then went on a run
to make the playoffs, to go to Chicago and beat that team at Soldier Field, to go to New Orleans and make it a one-score game against the Saints.
15-14.
Right. That's
in other words, there was a defensive battle because you didn't have to worry that much about Mitchell Trubisky.
They play for him and with him. By the way, did you see the clip? It was going around.
That's what I was about to say.
No,
How are you not talking about that?
You could do that, and just give me 1 second on this. The clip's going around about where Wentz's offensive line isn't blocking for him. And Jeff Schwartz, the former lineman, was saying, actually, there was a lot of time in the pocket there. But when you look at the play breakdown, he did it on Twitter. When you look at the play breakdown,
I didn't see it.
You see offensive linemen standing around and just looking, just watching. There was something about Foles that got people wanting to play for him.
Okay, talk about the better clip.
This is the greatest
Talk about the better clip. Did you see this, Stephen A?
This is the greatest thing ever.
There's a good Samaritan who's out there, and he goes, my man started throwing babies out the window, and I was catching them, unlike Aguilar and his mishap.
I saw that. I saw that.
That was ridiculously funny. How do you guys sit here and talk about Aguilar for the entire, 10 minutes and not bring that up?
Well, because I just missed it, bottom line. But I will say
that
this.
was so good.
He said that was, in considering his heroism, to sit up there and take a shot at Aguilar at that particular moment in time, I'm like, dang.
This is actually
there's real stuff here. You know what that is?
He caught it, catching
babies. That's an Eagles fan having just caught babies out of a burning building, saying basically, talking about Aguilar. I'll call him unlike Aguilar. He's basically saying, in Philadelphia, we think catching a pass with the game on the line, if you're an Eagle, is like catching a baby falling out of a burning building. Stephen A., if that's the case and that's the pressure the city puts on you, if that's the pressure that the city puts on you, why aren't they playing like that for Carson Wentz?
Well, why don't you bring up Doug Peterson?
Because Doug Peterson was the coach when Foles was the quarterback, too.
Yeah, but he calls a different game with Foles than he does with Carson Wentz, which you and I have both acknowledged, along with our NFL aficionados who have come on this show. The game is called a little bit differently by Peterson when Nick Foles is behind.
And they're hurt.
Carson
and they're
Wentz.
hurt right
Plus,
now.
they got excuse me, I didn't see Deshaun Jackson dropping passes.